Hey everyone. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Ellie only one. It's good to see you. I'm glad that I could make you a little excited this morning. How's everybody doing? Hey Bomber Truck. No. You won't. Callie, Ghetto Baby, Lori, allegedly, and in my opinion, Mystic Butterfly, literally Davis fam, My Crime Time. Girl Next Door, Amy O Behave, Azima, Shelly M. We're going to start this a little early today. OG Fish, Butter, Proud Mimi, Bama G, Lisa Durr, Colleen, Kathy, Bev, Sherry. Right. I get it, baby. That was the whole entire point of his speech, but we'll get there. Thank you for being here this morning. Please hit the thumbs up. Hey, Poetic Justice, Alabama Mama 4, Uninvited Ghetto Superstar, Up to Good, Hindsight 2020, Bee's Knees, Grammy's Place, Mystic, Music City, Eric Jasper, Stephanie J. I'm out of my mind right now. Please leave a message. I like the new name. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Janine. Crime Brulees, good to see you. Hey, Mickey. Happy Beach. Boob Mall. Peppermint Tea. Miriam. Look at that. From a 28 to a 44. I like seeing that jump. Ashley, good morning. Listen, speaking of Canada and all the good things, I don't want any comments about politics in here today. None. Zero. You don't think, listen, Ghetto Baby, I've been seeing your comments all over these streets, and I'm trying to be really respectful to you, but you don't think I get that? I don't think you understand the entirety of what he was saying. That was this gentleman's entire point. I think the people that are pretending that they are, involved in this case is exactly what he was talking about. Okay? So, no, I do get that. I think I'm one of the very few that get that. Petty AF, good morning to you. Thank you for being here for 2 months. I appreciate you. Hey, Leslie and Billy. Kim Ortez. Well, there's that. Cheyenne, good morning. Hey, Sherry. Turning leaves. Yes, that was the entire point of his video. Get it, baby. Thank you. Crystal, good morning. Hey, Trish. Okay, so I stay. I'm not gonna lie, Get it, baby. You got me a little bit. You got me. It's like sometimes I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone, and then Twilight Zone comments appear, and I'm like, well, shit, it is the Twilight Zone. I keep forgetting. So thank you for reminding me. We're actually getting up to 80 today, and I love it. So last night I was sent this video, and we're gonna jump right into it. And there's quite a few things that people are going to ignore within this video, but I hope you all pay quick attention to it and hear what this gentleman is saying, not what you want it to be saying. Listen to what he is saying. Hey, Ghoulie. So this is Cold Case Detective Ken, and he comes out and hello, Winnie, and he makes a video, which I do. I usually speed people up to 2 times. As you can tell, I'm a fast talker. But I guess I'll do like 1.5. It's hard to listen to people when they speak very slowly.
Yeah, let's talk about I ain't got no love.
Good morning and welcome back to Unsolved No More, your true crime fix, right? Well, not necessarily. There are better true crime channels out there, and I don't profess to be strictly a true crime channel because I'm going to get into it today, how some of this true crime genre has gone a little crazy for me. But as we go forward, I want to talk about the Sebastian Rogers case. Now, I'm not going to do a great in-depth study of this case.
Look at Sebastian on your screen. Hey, Pristine. That is the only person who matters here. I couldn't fathom what it would be like to go away for a little bit and come back to all of this. I couldn't fathom.
But I do want to let people know, just because of their curiosity, I've gotten some emails and stuff about my thoughts on it. I will say this. The true crime stuff that is happening like currently, I don't get too involved with. I don't follow it that much. You know, I like the older cases, you know, 1970s, 80s, even 90s. The stuff that's happening currently, like I think the name Karen Reed maybe comes to mind because people have emailed me some things. Delphi interests me because of the motive.
Delphi's been really interesting. I'm curious how many I'll have to do a poll or something, but how many of you believe that Richard Allen is the right guy? I'm trying to fix this layout, but it's not working. Hey, Ami. It's good to see you. I've never heard of this guy.
And in Idaho, that interested me as well. But for the most part, I don't get caught up in all of it, and there's good reason. And so this Sebastian Rogers case is a perfect example. So
Sad.
I was reached out to by a gentleman, I believe his name is Chris Proudfoot, who I believe is the stepfather.
Do you hear that? Says, I was reached out by Chris Proudfoot. So all the people that are out there saying Katie and Chris aren't looking and they don't care, and he is here telling you all that Chris Proudfoot reached out to him. Now, I know people will make excuses and say, you know, who cares? Wow, they did what, that's what they always do. But I thought it was very interesting that Chris Proudfoot himself reached out to this gentleman. Hey, Miss Lyra Bird, pretty as pretty does. Rose Petal. I must say I don't talk in here, but like to listen, and I love your kitty rolling. Thank you. I've gone back and forth on his guilt. Right now, it doesn't look like they have much to convict him. Yeah, I think if I was on the jury, I would have a hard time, very hard time. Hey, Stassi, good morning. Good morning, Juno. It would be very difficult to convict just off what we know. Now, I don't know if there's more they're presenting to them that we don't know. We don't know everything, but I'm very curious what's going to happen there. Hey, Revival, T-Dub. He may be, but I don't think he'll be convicted. Oof. If he is and he's not convicted, that's scary. I think one thing I will agree with when it comes to Delphi and Richard Allen and all that is that man was, in my opinion, treated very unfairly inside that prison. Just almost to a point of insanity. Matter of fact, at one point he was insane. So it's kind of scary to think that they can just, I don't know, torment people that way. Although some people probably deserve it, to be honest. I mean, I don't understand whatever. It's a whole nother rant.
Of Sebastian Rogers, who was a 15-year-old male who went missing February 26th of this year. And he has some high functioning level of autism, from what I understand. Chris reached out to me and he wanted my help. I didn't know anything about the case. He didn't mention the name. He just stated that he had heard about me and wanted to know if I could help. Certainly. Absolutely. What do you need from me? And that's always my standard answer to family who have reached out to me in missing persons or unsolved homicide cases. We shared a few emails. You know, I asked him where he was located at, so that way I knew whether I was in driving distance, whether I could go speak with him, help the family out, whatever I could do. He had said Tennessee. I said, yeah, that's doable, you know. But
is he speaking too fast for anybody? Because I do have him sped up. I do too, Ghetto Baby, but we're gonna hear why. If I had a missing kid, Ken Means is who I would do what it took to get him to help. That's awesome, Allie. Yeah, he is a professional. Okay, we're on good speed.
But let's talk.
Well, if you're used to listening to me, then this guy sounds like he's talking slow still. So I get it. Hey, Sarasaurus. right.
What is the name of your loved one, your missing child, so on and so forth? And he gave me the
I
name,
know, punk.
Sebastian
I know.
Rogers, explained his relationship.
Me too.
And then I got a few emails from Sebastian's mother, who I believe her name was Katie.
So Sebastian's mother also, okay, reaches out. So you got Chris and excuse me, Chris and Katie. Hey, Unsubbed, Shauna. Chris and Katie both reach out to Ken Maines, who is credentialed. I mean, look at all of his credentials. This guy would have been perfect. It would have been brilliant. And unfortunately, we're going to hear why it didn't work out. Or, I'm sorry, it's not that it didn't work out. There's still a chance. We have to see what he says by the end of it. Hey, the bully. Oh, okay, so people want to know. So this is basically what I got from him. True crime legend who's captivated audience worldwide. You may recognize him from his television appearances on the History Channel, Reels, ID, and Discovery Science. He is a trusted and sought-after contributor to media outlets like Newsweek, Fox News, and News Nation. So it says that he's spanning 2 decades in law enforcement, including working undercover with the FBI and running a district attorney's cold case unit. He is a proud veteran of the United States Marine Corps and holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He's been quoted as one of the country's greatest detectives. So he has the credentials. Hey, PJ. Hey, Sarah. Oh, snap. Ginger. Casey. I know, Casey. I know. I'm glad they reached out to people. They're reaching out to the right people, it seems, not the bullhorn Bettys. I agree, Myrtle Snow. Now, the way this guy presents this is as if he was reached out to recently, but it kind of sounds different as it goes on, so we'll see. Hey, Marley Beans. Thank you, Straight Talker, with the number 123. 451 people in here. I'm sure we can get the views a little bit. I mean, the thumbs up a little higher. Me too. Me too. I'm like, I never even heard of this guy. And then I was subscribed too. The same thing. And then I went and watched a lot of his other stuff. And this guy is a impressive, amazing guy. So, hey, capital K. Kraken. Good morning, my friend. I know. I'm sure you guys have caught on to that with me as well. There's some people that when they come on panel, they speak rather slow, and I'm the same way. It's not a bad way to be, but
same type of emails. Can you help us? I said, let's jump on the phone, or maybe Katie said, let's jump on a phone call, and we did. Okay.
Oh, let's get on the phone.
But before we did that,
absolutely, Stephanie, I got you. Hold on.
When I approach a case, I want to be as non-biased as possible, which means I don't look at media accounts. I don't want to sit down and watch Dateline. I don't want to read much about the case other than I want to hear it from the people and the police. That's it. And then, eventually I'll spread out. I typed in this kid's name and some Twitter feeds came up. It was shocking. That's the best word I can use. Another word I want to use, but I feel is a little strong, but is disgusted.
How many of you have felt the same way? Just disgusted. I mean, despite how many times we personally have witnessed this, right? Despite us being here from the very beginning of it, I still, at times, am just utterly disgusted. So I want to do something because, it's absolutely horrible. And I'm not saying we didn't add or play a part. Hey, Pittsburgh nurse, you're here, my neighbor. Hey, Janine. You're a neighbor too. So let's see if we do this. Okay, so if I type in on Twitter, Sebastian Rogers, this is what pops up. Yeah, you should give an update. So, you know, Ghetto Baby, I'm not trying to like call you out, but have you seen SF pop up yet? Co-plaintiff goes off on creator with 559 viewers. This implosion can only be corrected through legal means. Co-plaintiff. Hillbilly bitch, you lied on me. You're disgusting. No self-control. You're miserable. I'm trying to grow. You're a stinnet. Trashy mouth. Backstabber. Cut throat. You're unlikable. You're trash. I don't know who that's about. Chloe. Debbie. What is this? Oh, the threats that people have. So anyway, I have yet to see SF come up. There he is. All right. This is from September 18th. Give me 1 second. I have to get my dog, my cat, my dog. Come on now. Ooh, I'm losing my mind today. 180, Tammy. Thank you. So I think you're a little wrong when you say that it's SF that he's talking about, but I just wanted to show you this is what comes up. Look how beautiful. I mean, it's just my son has the same shirt. It baffles me. Anyway, coming back over.
I was disgusted at the banter, the back and forth I was reading. So I quickly exited my search. I said, I'm not getting into reading all that.
Too legit for you until the FBI, TBI, or law enforcement comes out and states that the reward is now at $175K. I will continue to state it is at up to $50K. Only $50K is recognized by the FBI. I just think it is absolutely ridiculous. What if I wanted to add $5? Do I get to now say is that $180K? Or, I mean, that wouldn't be 5, it'd be 5,000, but you get the point. Jesse's girl, I don't even know why you're still here. The comments you come over here to make, I'd like, do you walk out of here feeling better when you do that? I mean, honestly, I don't know about any of you, but I don't go in people's chats to tell them how much I dislike them. What I do is if I was subscribed, I hit the unsubscribe. Okay. But I don't go, and if they pop up and I don't like them, I hit the do not recommend. But I don't go in people's chats just to say how much I dislike them. I think it is weird. I think it's weird to repetitively come back to my chat and do that. I think it is very telling to who and what you are. Then you think you are proving me to be. Okay. I find it weird. I once received an email from a fellow creator who I didn't realize was a creator at that time. That must have been literally a book long of how much they dislike me. And it blew my mind that anybody thinks they are that like you are that oddly infested and lack that much control that you would go out of your way to spend what had to be 30 plus minutes typing out an entire email of disdain, as if I give two shits for who you even are. It is weird to me. So please, if you are part of the melon felons over here, do not go out of your way to do weird shit like that. We don't have time for it. The cat lady, did you notice that? They come out and they have their little minions start spreading these rumors, and then they come out and say that they have a tip So it starts off with like, oh, did you guys know Chris Proudfoot has connections to this state? And then they come out and say, we got a tip about this state. It's very orchestrated. It's very orchestrated. It's very weird.
I just want facts, right? I received a phone call from Chris and Katie, Sebastian's mother and stepfather. And I spoke with them for about an hour.
Again.
When I do an initial introduction like that, there's a couple things that has to take place. One, I want them to know where I'm coming from. Hey, if you want me to help, this is what you can expect. I can't give you miracles, and I can't promise an outcome. But what I can do is promise you my best.
Listen to what he just said. I can't promise you an outcome. Anybody with any sort of decency would never promise a particular outcome. They can be hopeful towards one, but they can't promise one. I have heard people promise that doing X, Y, and Z will bring Sebastian home. It's such a dangerous thing to do.
And that's the only way that I know how to work, is to give it my all, 100%. Which means I will travel to Tennessee. I will, I'll help.
Always, Grammy.
This is what needs to take place. I did a brief cursory look online, and I see all these people. There's some people that are in Tennessee with you right now that are helping you. To me, there needs to be one person in charge. And it's not an ego thing. It's because when you have all these tentacles being involved and going off in a million different ways, it only creates chaos.
He's right. Which is why sometimes when families are facing these tragedies, they will have one person be a spokesperson, right? And that person, he's tagged in the video, but I'll drop him in just a minute. That spokesperson is usually a family friend, a higher professional. They're not just a stranger that you've heard of. They're usually somebody that can represent you and your family and can do it well. That's why not just anybody can be, So he has a brilliant point here. There's just too many fingers. There's too much involved. It gets messy. It gets muddy. And egos start to go. And then you get the chest pounding, right? Then you get the pissing contest, if you will. And what happens? The main priority then gets covered with all of this nonsense. And that is what we have witnessed here.
So if you want me to be involved, I'm just saying, and even if you don't want me involved, this is what you need to do.
I know
you hire,
Gary is
or you get one detective who's in charge, and everybody else that helps and wants to help, they have to work under him. Now, it's not like a boss thing. It's like, hey, we're going to go search this area. Okay. That way, this one person can map it out, know all the information, and you don't have 100 different people muddying the waters.
That is one thing I think a lot of people have complained about. I do remember, and of course I remember when it all turned south, and I actually revisited that time period to show who turned it south. Hey, Lilith. I remember a lot of complaining when it came to the searches is that there wasn't communication to say, now I know as far as professionals go, they had a great communication going. They wanted people to sign in, to be present. They had an app where people would mark things they found to be of suspicion and blah, so forth. But this is why amateur hour searching doesn't work. I've also seen many times where an area will be searched and nothing's there, and then new eyes go through it and they do find something. I'm actually going to show you all a few cases where that does take place. I see you, Regina, is working.
That's what I recommended to them.
I agree, Grammy.
Everything seemed, listen, my impressions were the mom, when she spoke with me, she was very emotional. Depressed would be a good word. You could just.
Do you think anybody will take that and feel that and hear that? He spoke to the mother of a missing child. She was very emotional. She was depressed.
Tell it in her voice.
Fact, Colleen.
One of the things that she said to me that stood out after a long period of silence, after we said something and I was waiting for a response and I wasn't getting anything. And I just waited, and it seemed like an eternity, but I'm sure it was only a minute or two. She said, "I just want my son back." And there's always certain things that strike you. And during that conversation, that was one of them. Now, I'm not saying guilt. I'm not saying innocence. I'm not saying any of that like some of other people have done. That's just not me. We finished our conversation, and we, as a collective, weren't sure whether we were going to make this unity happen. They certainly wanted to think about things, and I certainly had some trepidation myself based off of nothing that they said to me. Well, maybe a little bit of something that they said to me, the help that they were getting. They had mentioned a specific agency or a person who had been down there and helping out, and would I have a problem working with these people? Listen, I don't have a problem working with anybody.
So they mention a certain agency, right? So the Proudfoots at this time, now we don't know, right? Because it kind of sounds like, that's what I was saying, like, girl, it sounds like he's saying they spoke recently, but then at times it seems like it was in the past. So it's hard to pinpoint exactly when he spoke with them, but they do have agencies working for them. They do have people that are working for them. Diana, thank you so much for being here for 5 months. Kim, I actually reached out to YouTube. I'll show that just to prove it, because people are thinking that I'm putting I keep going in and taking ads off of my videos. They are overwhelmingly putting ads on the videos. Hey, Finding Hope, it's good to see you. I hope you've been well.
Okay, as long as it's a coordinated effort. But then after our conversation, I got back online and I said, let me see what I'm dealing with here. And all of a sudden, Doug the Bounty Hunter started coming up. This other agency that's filing motions against this people. And then you have the biological.
Speaking of that, I got really, 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 really good news the other day. So I'm very confident in everything that's happening.
Father of Sebastian fighting these people, and then let me see what I'm dealing with here. And all of a sudden, Doug the Bounty Hunter started coming up. This other agency that's filing motions against this people, and then you have the biological father of Sebastian fighting these people, and them hiring an attorney and an investigator, and everything was being fought online.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw Twitter, which, listen, for everybody that loves social media because it makes them feel a certain way and they feel relevant or whatever it is, if it's just for communication, sharing, whatever, more power to you. I just don't operate my life through Twitter, and I certainly don't operate investigations through Twitter. Or
thank you, Crimson's good to see you. Hey, Shay B. So yeah, you guys are gonna be mind blown when I can tell you, but it's great. Right. See, that's the part you're latching on to, Ghetto Baby, because I know where you stand. I've seen your comments. You're latching onto that part to assume that is about SF Investigates. But again, listen to the before and the after. That's where context comes in, and context is very important. I also just told you that I put Sebastian's name into Twitter. I showed you it, and it was not SF that comes up. But we can hear it again because you think this is particularly. When do you ever see SF say, "Hey, we got a lead"? Do you ever see SF? Anybody put a 1 in the chat? Do you ever see? If you do, put a 2. If you don't, do you ever see SF put, "We got a tip for this area"? Right, but he's not operating on Twitter, but others are. There are others who are operating via Twitter. They are claiming that they're receiving tips. They're updating people. They're putting riddles on there. There are people that are doing it. So unfortunately, I get where you're coming from, but I personally do not believe he is referring to SF. Now, in some of this, I do think he is, but not this part. Not this part. Oh, it has, Viv. It has. Tremendously. Big things are about to take place, and people's minds are going to be blown. Let me just, that's all I can say about it for now.
And after our conversation, I got back online
Context.
and I said, let me see what I'm dealing with here. And all of a sudden, Dog the Bounty Hunter started coming up. This other agency that's filing motions against this people. And then you have the biological father of Sebastian fighting these people and them hiring an attorney and an investigator. And everything was being fought online. Like I saw Twitter, which, listen, for everybody that loves social media because it makes them feel a certain way and they feel relevant or whatever it is, if it's just for communication, sharing, whatever, more power to you. I just don't operate my life through Twitter. And I certainly don't operate investigations through Twitter or other social media platforms.
Now, with the context of that, I think he's leaning more towards, calling out other people, but I get it. You personally have a personal feeling towards this person, and so you want it to be about them. I don't think it's about them, but that's okay.
The amount of online fighting and debating that was happening, and I'm not just talking from like amateur standpoint, like people, true crime people who have interest, but I'm talking like supposed professionals.
Now, this part could be about
I just don't understand it. And I don't think I ever will understand it.
Hey, Rebecca.
It just made me sick that these professionals were, I can't say that they don't have the best interest of Sebastian because I don't know them personally. And I always like to refrain from judgment until I met a person eye to eye and shake their hand. And
but you'd have to go to Florida and Pennsylvania, and because they'll never, go towards there. So if that's not what has Seth so riled up. Yeah, the so-called professionals, right? Hey, Donna. Hey, Purple. That Oregon, it is contradicting the whole anonymous garb. Well, that post is not anonymous. That's what I mean. They do that on purpose. It is it's feeding a frenzy, right? Think about it as if you were out, I don't know, you're out on a boat in the ocean and you're dying to see sharks. Every now and then you're going to drop a few little buckets of blood into the water and they come circulating. Now, once that goes away, they go away. Well, you got to bring them back. You really want to see them. That is what they're doing. They are feeding a frenzy. Nothing more, nothing less. They are intentionally keeping people hooked in a way that you keep coming back because let's face it, the damage is done and a lot of people are over it. A lot of people, unfortunately, for Sebastian, a lot of people just can't be bothered anymore. Hey, Lynn Lovelight. Hey, Literally Davis. And I think that's exactly why they do what they do. And without the hate mongering, there's no, that's what their little, it goes across so many areas of YouTube. We can do a whole stream on it, but yeah. Hey, Dixon.
Get a good 15, 20 minutes of conversation with them.
Hey, Brian.
You can't do that over social media. But I do believe that social media, online presence, will give you a glimpse into somebody's personality. And I did not like what I saw in this whole Sebastian Rogers case. You
didn't, huh? Which part didn't you like? The call our tip lines and not law enforcement's tips, or, hey, Sarah Fox. Was it the wild attempt at intimidation to silence critics, or I'm curious which part he didn't like.
Maybe I'm old school, but it's just not the way an investigation should go. It makes it so much harder, not only on investigators, but family members, that are involved.
It does.
They have to totally shut off what's going on in social media, I believe.
They should, if they want to stay mentally sane. Yeah, that wasn't cool. Ghetto, that wasn't cool. Wonder why they're not suing him for that.
In order to have some sanity about them. That's why I took social media off of my phone.
Same.
And
deleted Facebook.
I have it because it is beneficial for me when I receive information. People look it up, send me stuff. There are benefits to it if used properly. And I'm not going to get into the whole social media etiquette and
they got to serve.
If it's for you, it's for you. I don't care. I just don't like that a true case or a true crime case, especially with a missing person, is being hashed out between two sides online and fighting. It's the norm now. I have.
It is the norm now, and it's despicable. It's absolutely despicable. But that's what keeps people intrigued. You see that all over social media, right? You see that even when it comes to different sectors on YouTube. You got the antis and you got the pros, and a lot of people, that is their only way to fit in, is to hate bond. And I know that gets so watered down on here, but that is literally what you witness it. You can witness it. I've witnessed in the past month people who couldn't stand people suddenly supporting them because they have a common enemy. It is ridiculous. Hey, the Cat's Life, welcome. The Cat's Life is a new member here, and they're here this morning. Fairy Baby likes to say hi to the Cat's Life. I live in Tennessee, live near St. Jude. I think about Sebastian Rogers all the time. Have lost sleep about him. After these grimy people, it's gross. Hey, Emerald Skies. Note to self, good morning. The teams, it's unbelievable. But without that, the support leaves, right? That this is how people operate. It is a really good tactic, but it's despicable. And again, at what expense? Hey, Stephanie.
I understand that. I will never, ever be a part of that. For me, and this is just my humble opinion, to do a proper investigation, you need to annex yourself completely away from that. Put blinders on from the noise and stay focused at the task, and that's finding the child.
Do you hear what he's saying? The family should disassociate from social media. It is a distraction. That is all that has been happening, is distractions. Every time I see a particular group going out there searching, all of a sudden there's, a tip for out of state and over here and look there and look there. It's absolutely unbelievable. And it's every time. But he is right. You stay off of social media so you can keep the task at mind. So you don't hear all of this clutter. And that was the biggest downfall, in my opinion, one parent made. Toe Beans, thank you for becoming a member. April Wine, thank you so much for the super sticker. Hey, Choco Latte, good morning. There's a reason, listen, when you put in this filing that, people said things they didn't, but you leave out the people that did, it makes me wonder why. And my only reasoning could be is that, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? If what he said was so false, it was so slanderous, why isn't he listed? Hey, Goody. Hey, Kathy, I didn't see you come in. Sorry. Oh, no. Oh.
Now,
I don't know why.
The reality of things to me is that more than likely that child is dead. Now, if the parents are watching this, that's a hard realization, and I'm sorry that I have to say that. That's just my opinion based on statistics. There is still hope. Hope can be a beautiful thing. Okay? But that's where the focus has to be. It can't be on injunctions. It can't be on lawsuits. That's ludicrous. From people that aren't even involved in the case. They think they're involved.
Listen to this. I'm putting regular speed. Because this part was like, praise the Lord, blessed be the fruit, amen.
That's where the focus has to be. It can't be on injunctions. It can't be on lawsuits. That's ludicrous.
Ludicrous.
From people that aren't even involved in the case. They think they're involved.
They think they're involved. Hey, Sherry, I'm so sorry. I thought I said good morning to you. I'm sorry. Well, thank you for the super sticker and good morning to you. Hey, Curvy, good morning. Well, so did anybody else notice that all of a sudden, after months and months and months of saying that Sebastian is no longer with us, they are suddenly saying that Sebastian is alive and an endangered runaway? Does anybody in the chat want to take a guess why? Toe Beans, I thought you were a member for before. How the hell did you just do that? Glad to be green again. How did you just become a member but have the 5-month milestone? That was so weird. I knew that you were a member. It's kind of confused me. Okay, well, thank you again. Good morning, Patricia. Nay. Does anybody want to guess why? Attention reaction? Huh? Or maybe because the join button is so weird. I am Talissa. I'm sorry. he said that you have to be prepared, Emerald Skies, that is a possibility. Cambry, thank you. Well, because what good is an injunction, right? What good is an injunction if the child is not alive? That is my opinion as to why.
Because they insert themselves into the case. So now listen, some of it, like I said, they do things for the right purpose. But there are some that are doing it just for the publicity.
Boom. There are some that are doing it just for the publicity. They think they're involved in this case because they inserted themselves. And they're doing it just for the publicity. The amount of publicity that is being sought. I am seeing more people seeking out publicity than they are Sebastian Rogers. They can't claim we are endangering him if he's still alive. And yes, Regina. Can't endanger the well-being of somebody who's no longer with us. Can't hinder the search. Can't throw an injunction. 25 months, Megan. Day one, A1. J. Kells, good morning to you. Thank you, Megan. Finally, someone speaking facts. Not biased, not involved, not picking a quote-unquote team, just an outsider's perspective to what is happening here. And it is so refreshing. And I hope more people, matter of fact, you can all count on the publicity taking place. But I don't think it's going to be the way people are hoping. Charm and Jenna. Going to be a lot better looking characters, let me tell you that. It's like, I don't know what they look like. Your comments just crack me up. Re-up as a member goes back to when you originally started. Oh, I love that. I didn't know that. I thought it makes you start all over. That's awesome. As long as you rejoin within a few weeks of your membership canceling, usually you don't lose your status. Oh, well, okay, cool. Because I know a lot of people have been here for a long time, but then, something happens and they start over. Good morning, Irish Eyes. I'll never forget that because it was so damn true. Like, can we get a better looking cast? Hey, Deborah, you as well. Thank you. I don't know why there's no join button, but I do appreciate you trying, Blue Moon. About what we think could have happened if we eliminate possibility. Yeah, I honestly, I've done that 911 crime, and I still believe that. I do believe something upset Sebastian at night. Maybe he overheard something on a phone call, and he ran out. It's unfortunate. But I am with Truth and others when they believe that this is going to be concluded soon. I do know. It's not a think. I do know the police have more than we do. Right. That's what I mean, Viv. It's like, oh, I'm having a meet and greet, and oh, what do you know? Come look at my tweets. There's new information. Professionals don't give out their leads or their tips online. They don't do that. It is so dangerous. It is reckless. Oh, Shay B, thank you. You could have just wrote that, but I do appreciate the sticker. Let me see. Let's see if I can help you here. Oh my goodness, Angela Cook, thank you so much. Good afternoon, Grady. I'm having my work lunch and thought I'd spend it with you. I love that, you fabulous lady. Thank you so much. Wow, thank you. All right, let's see. Good morning, Vanessa. That may work. They also don't take tips away from TBI. No, they would never. They would never. They would never.
Every single little thing. Okay, Sebastian Rogers, I went and checked this sewage ditch, and then you post it.
Hold on. Go back.
But there are some that are doing it just for the publicity. Every single little thing. Okay, Sebastian Rogers, I went and checked this sewage ditch, and then you post it. Every little step you post it. And you say, well, I'm doing that to keep people updated. No, you're not.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I love the way he said it, because no, you're not. No, you are not. Shay, welcome back to the MFers. Drainage pipes. I'm doing it. No, you're not. Nothing came out of that but clicks and views and a couple dollars from the ads. Okay? A little channel growth be it. And there's not, listen, I am so tired of it being taboo for channel owners to get likes, to grow, and to get money through YouTube. That is the entire purpose behind YouTube. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's not nothing to be shamed about. There's nothing shameful about that. That's why they offer it. It is a blessing. If you are able to do that, it is a blessing. What is shameful, what should be taboo, is doing it at the expense of people who genuinely believe that your intentions are good. That is what is despicable. Turning leaves. Welcome to the MFers. We seen it with quote unquote Summer's army. Who just saw that recent thing that went around? The video of the woman that claims that she saw Summer. Put a 1 in the chat if you saw that. And then I couldn't believe, not only did that video get uploaded before the parents were even notified, they did during the video state that they notified, law enforcement, then they did TBI, all of that. But before all of that, they did, they uploaded this video. The parents weren't even aware of it. They had to find out via social media, la-di-da. I could not believe when I saw a particular person pop up and say that they were notified of it, so they reached out to all the people as if they were the end-all be-all. As if they were the only ones capable. As if they were needed to do that. As if they were the ones that received the tip. It baffled me. I was like, wow, these people really think they're of such high importance. It blew my mind. Meanwhile, they're trying to tie that child to Sebastian in a disgraceful way. Because what happens then? Oh, well, we can get the people that are Summer's army. Most of them have now changed their name to Sebastian's army like they do every child, and they forget about the one previous. But we can go ahead and we can get Summer's army and Sebastian's army together, and that makes us bigger and stronger, and that's more views and more support. That's why they're doing that. They know damn well there is no connection to Summer Wells and Sebastian Rogers. They know it. They don't want you all to know it. Because again, it is feeding the frenzy. And they know it.
No, you're not. You're doing it so people will follow you and click and all that stupid shit that is completely irrelevant to the case.
Nothing to do with the case.
It's sad. I agreed. I said, hey, I will help you with this case, Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot. I will help because I could hear. Well, listen, just because you hear depression, sadness, all those things coming from the other end of a telephone doesn't mean they're not involved.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they're sad because of the situation that the son is no longer there. It could be remorse. Could be a lot of things. I'm not saying that she's involved with anything, but I'm just saying you can't make a snap judgment based off of a voice.
Right. You can't. I mean, think of if you have children, right? Think of how convincing a child can be with chocolate around their mouths as they're crying they didn't eat the chocolate. Right? I mean, you can't really just go off of what you're hearing. There's a lot more to it. And in every situation like this, you should never just believe the family. How many times have I said that? You think they're ever going to be 100% honest? Like, especially if they're guilty. You think they're going to tell you that they're guilty? I mean, come on. The fact that people are like, well, I spoke to them and they sounded really sad, so I think they're innocent. Yeah, okay. Okay. It's a good thing you're a YouTuber, not a detective.
On a telephone call
Hey,
or even face to
I didn't
face. I
see
mean,
you.
you'll get certain feelings one way or another. I mean, the only feeling that I can take from that is that she is grieving.
Hey, Ryan.
Why she is grieving, because of all the pressure, all the social media stuff, all the stupid attacks that are being thrown at her, or because she feels guilty about something, she didn't check on him, certain things. Okay. You don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But she certainly was grieving. The stepfather, on the other hand, my impressions of him, I mean, based off a 1 hour phone call and several emails, it's very hard. But I mean, you got to give him some credit. He reached out.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not the only person he must have reached out to. But
here's this guy coming out months later and saying these two reached out to him, right? Meanwhile, the whole internet saying they're doing nothing. They're doing nothing. They're not searching. They're not begging for help. They're not pleading for Sebastian to come home. Again, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Hey, Brianna, this is a perfect example of just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Thank you, Vanessa. Oh, it's infuriating. Sounds suspicious. Of course it was, Straight Talker. Hey, honey, too.
I would say that if I started that, and this is what I told the family, I would come to Tennessee. I would come to their house. You have to take video of everything there in the house, the layouts. And it isn't necessarily for right now. It's for down the road. If, God forbid, the case doesn't get solved, which a lot of missing persons doesn't. You have that for future reference. So you can look at after the house is changed, demolished, renovated, whatever it is. Get a statement. Okay. And I did that.
That's a good
point. Tell
point.
me right now in this phone call, what happened that night the last time you saw Sebastian?
That's a really good point, T. Adams.
And the mother had told me, stuff about him going up to bed, her hearing a loud bang up in his room, but then she asked him if he was okay. He said yes.
He said first he received from Chris, and then Katie emailed him. So I don't know. Also, people have a baseline, and without knowing somebody's baseline, you can't really judge off everything else. I do still wonder. The behavioral panelist did a video on Chris and Katie months ago. I'm still curious why I haven't seen anybody. I mean, I know I've covered it, but I haven't seen anybody really cover that. Why not? Does it dismiss their entire narrative? I'm not a professional by any means. I still stand by trust no one. We don't know shit. But professionals have analyzed.
And I made sure to annotate that because you don't want to rely on your memory, 6 months down the road when the child's found and all of a sudden you have to remember, okay, whoa. She went down to the police station and now she's giving this account. Wait, she told me this.
I got to speed them up.
Didn't she?
Oh.
Well, I have it annotated. So that way I know. And if law enforcement ever came forward and say, hey, what did they tell you? This is what I would say. And it's not for publicity. It's for the case. It's for the family. And it's for Sebastian.
It's for the case.
That's how it has to be done. You have to have one alpha dog in charge that takes charge. Hey, this is the way things are going to be. This is how we're going to run things. X, Y, and Z. And if you don't follow under that, take a hike. Okay. The number one priority is not Twitter. It's not putting out, your YouTube video that's saying, hey, 10 minutes ago, I found this feather.
10 minutes ago, I found this feather. I see what you're saying, Truth. I think for me, I think of how I would be, and I'm not believe it or not, like I have social anxiety. I'm very antisocial, which is shocking. It's not, Casper, no. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I would be. She spoke to those who matter, right? Like she spoke to the police, she spoke to FBI, all the things. Does she owe speaking to us? We have her, I mean, right here, you have somebody saying that she reached out to them, right? So we don't know who she's reached out to and spoken to because they're not out here broadcasting it. If this guy didn't come out and say this, we would have never known this. So he spoke with Chris. He spoke with Katie. He spoke with both of them on the phone. How many other people have they done that with that we're just unaware? I think it is smart not to come out to social media at this point. They have come out to social media in the public and it was torn apart. And I think it'd be very smart if Seth would have followed in their steps. No, I agree with that, Truth, but I don't think a presence on social media diminishes the actual investigation for a child. That's all. Like, I feel like there's... If she said, I'm not talking to law enforcement, I'm not talking to FBI, then yeah, of course. But she's done extensive interviews with them alone. Polygraphs, I mean, you name it. So I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying, but then I also can understand from that perspective on why they want it. I would absolutely, well, he spoke to her on the phone after the email. I would recommend that every parent do that. Do the initial interviews to get the name out there, and then stay away from this shit. Stay away from it. Because she did, though, Brady, 8 months ago. Why would she do it now? I don't know. I can see both sides, to be honest. What opportunities have they turned down? I didn't know about that, Truth. Like, which ones? Hey, Kashmir. Dance Monkey, you are so right. So they can keep their own names out there. You are so right. And that's why they drop little tidbits here and there.
This is how we're going to run things. X, Y, and Z. And if you don't follow under that, take a hike. Okay? The number one priority is not Twitter. It's not putting out
You did say social
your
media,
YouTube
Brittany.
video that's saying, hey, 10 minutes ago, I found this feather.
I found a feather. I mean, it just cracks me up because it is true. It's like, wow, you found a feather. I see what you're saying. I would have to think a little bit on that. Because part of me feels like, okay, we're asked to help, keep an eye out, right? Like they come out and they say, hey, this is the child, my child, they're missing. Here's a photo. Please keep your eyes out. If we decide, okay, yes, let's do that, do we then get to say, hey, but while I'm doing that, I need to know X, Y, and Z of your child's personal life? I don't know. Put yourself in their shoes. God forbid it was ever you. And you're like, here's a picture of my child. And people come out and they want to know what your child did at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They want to know personal details. They want to know about your marriage and your family tree and all these things. As the public, are we entitled to that information? Thank you, Ben George, you as well. Or do we decide the next missing case we're not going to keep an eye out for the child because they won't tell us the child's favorite? I don't. It's a hard thing. I can see both sides. I do think there's a lot of weird things. It's just a bit confusing, to be honest. I don't know. Right. Does she need to come out like all the time in the beginning? More I'm with you. Like, is there a set amount of times we need to hear from her? I don't think we need to hear on 20 different YouTube channels or news. She went on Nancy Grace and did interviews in the beginning. She went on Nancy Grace. She reached out to Olivia. They reached out to this gentleman. How many others did they reach out to that we're unaware of? And then at the same time, it does, I'll tell you, because I understand a little bit of how I think you're feeling, Truth. Part of me feels like, now I was never asked to, and I have to keep reminding myself of this. I was never asked to speak out. I was never asked to do anything but keep my eyes out. But I do feel like I don't even know how to word it right. I get it a little bit. That's all I can say. I understand both sides.
Next to his windowsill. 6 months later, I think it's a clue. No. Okay. One guy in charge tells you this is the way things are going to be. Now, things are so much different anymore because of social media and how the true crime genre is. It wasn't like this. Let's just go 40 years ago.
Yeah. Why, if I may though, Truth, why do you feel this way now? Like, did something change recently that made, because I know you started to feel this way. We were in the chat. I remember you expressing it, but I am curious why. Like, did something big happen for you personally that you feel this way now? Did something, I don't know, I'm curious about the change, because it did feel, and I think I can speak for many, when it feels like there was a point where I personally, I don't know, I personally felt like you had more personal knowledge of things than anybody else, and you were pretty defensive of them because of that. I know with me, it's kind of like I'm feeling a little certain way because this whole lawsuit bullshit, right? But that's personal. It's a personal feeling. So I don't know. I get it. I get it to an extent. Sometimes I just feel like social media does this, so it's hard to know. Yeah, I think many people did, to be honest, but it's a hard one. There's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of feelings involved. There's a lot of, it's been a long time. It's been 8 months. Again, I just keep putting in perspective. If this guy didn't come out and speak now, we would have never known that the Proudfoots reached out to him. So how many others are there that we're unaware of? Are they seeking help, but they're doing so silently and privately that we are just under the assumption they're not, because they're not coming on our dinky little podcast and doing it here. Right? I know when it comes to Seth, I would have recommended he wasn't so present online. I think that caused a lot more harm than good. Did they watch him do that and learn not to do that? Is the next, I don't know. I'm with you on that one, Truth. Absolutely. I also can't I just can't fathom the amount of emotions you go through in those months either. Would there be a benefit in Katie coming out today? How about that? Let's ask it that way. Do you think anything good could come out of Katie coming out today and speaking? So you want to try. Yeah, Charmin Jenna. Did you ever send your child to someone's house? You have claimed did unthinkable things to you underage. Well, it's the father, so it's a little harder to withhold that. Because with that psychology, I mean, you got to remember there's a lot of studies on this of what victims become, right? They don't realize they're victims, or what is that other one? Stockholm syndrome. Think of Gypsy Rose. I don't know. Would you put your child in that position if you truly love them? Well, I think there's a difference too with him being a male. But I'm just thinking what I would do. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Was it the fact that he was a male made it different? Did she not realize at the time that she was a victim? Did she not see the gravity of what she experienced? Or did she not experience it? I don't know. Shit, I don't know, to be honest. That's a hard one. I'm going to be honest, Brittany, you're pretty ballsy to still show your face in here. I'll give you that, girl. I'll give you that. But with a neighbor like you, I wouldn't even, parents are doing behind the scenes, my opinion. The parents have the right to ask me to look out for their child. That doesn't give us rights to. That's what I was asking. I don't know, truth, because there's a lot of things that go into the mind state of a victim. You can't just go off the basis, especially have not been a victim. Can we go off what we would do? You know what I mean? To which question? Truth, I don't know. I think the possibility of Sebastian seeing any of his family online would be slim to none. If he were taken, his takers wouldn't want him to see any news, certainly if someone knew. Well, here's the other thing. You got to think of this as well, too. What if the police have stuff that we're unaware of, that we don't know, but within that, they have information that leads them to believe that they possibly know where Sebastian is? At that point, it's a hard one. Bless you as well, Ben George. Bless you as well. Thank you. I think she has been a victim of Sean's for a long time. I think people are questioning the actions thereafter if she was a victim. Let her speak without Chris and without scripted answers and questions. See, I don't know if she has or hasn't. I do think that it would be nice if she spoke more. It is Charmin Jenna. I just looked. But I also think that I could see having a hard time speaking as well. It's just so hard. It sounds like it'd be an easy answer. And I'd like to say I have an easy answer of what I would do. But I'll be honest with you. I don't know what I would do. What would I do if the whole world practically thought that I was guilty? And every time I went anywhere in the public, spoke publicly, it was torn apart. I don't know what I would do. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? No one interview has helped other and create a shit show. It's just so hard. Listen, I've said from the beginning, I've always had weird vibes. I'm going to continue with the fact that I have weird vibes. I don't know who did what, if anybody did anything. The perception of guilt, the not speaking, it could be something else. Like I said about Seth. Maybe Seth's guilt comes from the fact that he didn't see Sebastian as much as he should have. Maybe there's a point in time where Katie had to realize, I should have done this differently. I should have done this. I don't know. The shit show has been going on surrender Miss Child. I would only be speaking to authorities. I'm curious, has she stopped speaking to authorities? If authorities came out today and said the parents have stopped cooperating, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe her voice crackles, maybe. Oh, what if you're not a good public speaker, though? And you know, no matter what, you're going to look suspicious. Would you put yourself further in the spotlight of suspicion? This is such a hard one. I don't know. Australia lady whose infant was taken by a dingo. She was put on trial because she didn't agree publicly. DNA found dingo did take the baby. Yeah. It's a good question too. Why is it such a bad thing that Chris speaks for his wife? Because if people feel she's guilty, then they feel like she's speaking, she won't speak. I don't know what I would do if my child was gone. I don't know. And I don't want to pretend I would. I couldn't even begin to put myself in that position to even pretend I would know what I would do. Well, why make excuses for 8 months and then come out and feel this way is my biggest question. I mean, you have private access to them, right? Have you asked these questions? Because I would love to know if they would answer them for you. I always said I get a weird vibe. I don't know how else to put it. It doesn't mean that anybody's guilty because I don't freaking know. I'm so sorry, Aunt Kathy. I'm so sorry for your loss. My daughter died in 2017. No matter if I stood on a roof screaming her name, she will not be coming home. No matter what I do, she is still gone. Right, Miss Norris? Or maybe she has something to hide. It is, Donnie. It is. After seeing what happened to this case, Summer Wells, no way would I bring anything to social media. I think I'd probably fall down a dark tunnel of grief and despair, so wholly encompassing that I wouldn't want to get out of bed. I sent a big F you to all social media after what they did to her. My feelings would not be irrelevant. I understand though the why won't she speak? Is she afraid of slipping up? I get it. Zero, Tim. There was that one YouTube channel that happened to see the fan that Gabby Petito was in. That's the only thing I could think of. Well, thank you for being respectful, Ben. Public speaking out means nothing. Guilty people can speak out. Matter of fact, a lot of times the guilty are the ones that seek the spotlight. Honestly. Ellie told them not to, and they have obeyed those directions, besides a few minor interactions from Chris Proudfoot. But has Ellie actually told them not to speak out? Do we know that? I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Truth. I wholeheartedly disagree with that because I've never even spoken about Katie, to be honest, to make excuses for her. That I disagree with. That's right. Joseph Crook's body was found by YouTubers, toe beans. That's what I don't know. Was she advised not to, or is she trying to hide something? I don't get it. Nah, I disagree, Brittany. That's not quite true. That's not quite true. I think a lot of people would actually disagree with that. Think about it. Mom does almost all the talking, even though his dad was with him when Michael went missing. His father isn't shamed or suspicious for not speaking. That's true. That is true, YouTube inspector. Even if it's too way unexpected. I agree. Asking questions is not a problem at all. Actually, they will, ghetto baby. Law enforcement will ask you not to do certain things. I personally don't know how to feel about it. I understand what is being stated. I completely get it. No, I don't think that's what they're saying. I think what they're saying is the police will advise people not to do things. They can't say don't do it. They're not allowed to say don't do it. But they can advise you, hey, I don't think it's a good idea to start a GoFundMe. Oh, I'm going to do one anyway. I mean, how many times have we heard Steph say the police no longer communicate with him? And that's likely because he was bringing everything back here. I don't think for 1 minute that law enforcement told him not to speak out. I don't believe that. I think that is just an excuse to give. I don't believe that for a second. But I can believe that perhaps law enforcement and or the Proudfoots know something that we don't that stops them from speaking. Right. When was the last time Chris actually spoke? I don't know. I think a lot of people say a lot of shit. It doesn't mean anything anyway. I just don't believe 8 months in, her being the last one to see Sebastian, if there was any guilt, I don't believe that all the hands that were involved wouldn't have something to say she's guilty. You'd have to be one hell of a criminal to pull that off. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying Katie's not guilty, and I'm not saying she is. And I don't think Truth is either. There's weird things. I agree with that. But I also seen many times in cases like this where YouTubers will do a complete 360, 180, if you will. And it does lead people to wonder why, what happened. And that's why this whole time I've always stated, if I were to believe any parents were involved, this is who I would believe and why. There are weird things. There are many weird things. But I don't think lack of public interviews makes one suspicious. Right. That's what I'm saying. Truth. I don't think you're saying she's guilty. Well, I think you're questioning it a little bit, to be honest. Questioning it is different than stating it. There's no proof foul play at this point, at least publicly. I think law enforcement has stuff that we're unaware of. Well, people feel like there's things for her to answer to. I know I've heard people, particularly Truth, bring up the whole being a victim, underage victim, would be something that people would like to hear from her. No, Music City, because I can't. Maybe she isn't speaking because she doesn't know anything to tell anyone. If you think about it, what the hell does what Sebastian was like at 5 years old help finding him 10 years later? I think people just want to see her come out and say, I'm still here, Sebastian. And I get that, right? I'm still here. I love you. I miss you. Please come home. I think that would satisfy some. Although I think it would make others, it would be a feeding frenzy. Oh, look at her here. Look what she's doing. Oh, she doesn't sound legit. She doesn't sound sad enough. Does she just smile? We know how it goes. No, get a baby, not necessarily. Done booted myself out of here. No one is cleared. Ellie isn't talking. You can bet Ellie knows more than what they're saying. Oh, they absolutely do. No doubt in my mind they do. Get over roster squad membership while blocked. When they did speak out, it did nothing but let them be attacked all day, every day. Every word, Jester. Well, all right, let's put it this way. The more you speak out, right? Think of this. The more you speak out, the more of a public figure you become, right? Would you guys agree? It would be an interesting one. I'd be down to have it. Put a 1 in the chat if you would agree with that. The more you speak out, the more of a public figure you become. That orange victim isn't our business. She didn't press charge. She's not even the one that brought it here. Couple ones coming in the chat. So let's say your child went missing. You were slandered all over the internet. as a private citizen. You don't have a YouTube channel. You're not a public figure. You're not on several national news. You're not, you're nowhere. You don't need to be anything, Ghetto Baby. That's ridiculous. No, you don't. If your child's missing, you need to be a public figure. No, you don't. That's why a lot of people have spokesmen, because they don't need to be a public figure. I would keep my mouth shut. Matters more to them than their sons. Who cares if people don't believe Katie? Well, Donna, you're also the person that told me I should just sign myself saying that I bullied people and I endangered a child and move on. So with respect, I don't really put much behind what you say, because it's very odd to tell somebody to just agree that they did that. Not really though, Truth. That's not necessarily true. You don't become a public figure just because you're on the news. Well, you did, Donna. You said just agree to their terms. And again, I don't think you knew what their terms were, because none of you know what their terms were to tell me to agree to them. Hey, B. That's true. And that's why you can't pursue anything until he is found, right? Be jumping the gun if you tried otherwise. I said, stop speaking on it for your own benefit. No, you said to agree to their terms. Just kidding. That's what you said. I mean, I have it, which is okay. You felt that way. Again, you didn't know their terms. You thought their terms were just stop speaking on it. So I get it. You didn't understand everything else that was put in that, and that's fine. You're not a public figure just because you were on the front page. You're not. No. I appreciate it, Donna. Like I said, you just didn't know everything involved, and that's okay. Right. That's a good point, right? You would care more about finding your child. You would do whatever was necessary to find your child, and you wouldn't care about complete strangers. But yet, as a complete stranger, you were saying that they need to speak more. Isn't that against what you just said? I get it, Donna. I get it. Katie had to get a PO on someone just so she can go public. No, they need to speak. Okay, so that contradicts what you just said, though. All right. Listen, I get it, though. I get what you guys are saying to an extent. Hey, Rockin'. Thank you, Autism Gma. He did.
You had somebody that was on the scene that was in charge. Just call the lead detective. Now, the complications ran in when, okay, a private investigator is brought in. The medical examiner says this, the coroner says this, forensic pathologist says. Then see how then one of them says, well, I'm not so sure it was a gunshot wound. I think it was blunt force trauma. But the medical examiner says this. And see how things start.
Hey, Simplify. I just feel like people are using too much emotion when it comes to Katie because she's the mom. But history has told us that moms do unalive their children. Not saying she did, just statistics. Statistics. What are the statistics on mothers unaliving their children compared to runaways and or fathers doing it? Because statistically, I believe it is more likely that he ran away. But again, I don't know. But I'm just going to be honest with you, Truth. I think a lot of people are having a hard time swallowing what you're saying and understanding where you're coming from. Because, in my opinion, we were led to believe that you knew more than any of us and you defended them. So to hear you now saying things differently, I think it leaves a lot of people wondering why and if what you were saying before was true or not. Because in a way, you defended them, therefore helping an audience defend them as well, right? Like, I remember thinking that you must have been friends with them because of some of the stuff you were saying. So I think, a lot of people are now wondering what the difference is and if all of that wasn't true, or do you know something differently Did you hear something differently now? Or are you just doing, it's just a matter of 8 months have passed? Now you're seeing flags you didn't see before, which happens. I get it. But he hasn't, Brittany. That's the thing. He has not. You can say that as much as you want, but it's not necessarily true. Matter of fact, I have, but I'm named in a lawsuit. So, kind of different, don't you think? If y'all sit back and think, Katie was speaking some with Chris. However, if you think back, that is when someone else started releasing private information to the public we should have never known. Do you think she was blackmailed out of speaking? In a way? The more she spoke, the more of her personal business was going to come in? Either one of them being involved is still there. To think otherwise would be irresponsible. Right. I agree. I have as well. You as well, Lee. Thank you. Which is why it still blows my mind that I'm listed in this lawsuit. But, I digress. There's very little people showing Katie grace compared to those attacking and accusing her with zero evidence. See, I don't feel like I do give grace. And I've even given grace to Seth, despite people's belief. I have. I absolutely have. What I was trying to do is combat the bullshit, right? When people come out and they're counting the alcohol behind Katie and they're saying that, oh, well, when she was pregnant, she was drinking and that's why he's autistic. Those are the things I was fighting. I wasn't fighting Katie and Chris is innocent because I've always maintained and will continue to maintain, I don't believe any of the parents did anything. She won't say anything negative about Seth because of that. I think we would just love for Katie to come out and yell back at the things that Seth has put out here. I do agree with that. I think it would be nice to hear from Katie, but I can also understand from her perspective why she isn't. I understand why people want her to. My heart hurts for Seth Rogers in many ways. He wants his son home, has been manipulated to no end. Yeah, he has vultures. He has absolute... No, I did call him and just talk. You'd never call an attorney and just talk, ghetto baby. Not after they file a lawsuit against you. That would be a dumb move. Seth never did say why he said he knew where Sebastian was. Not remembering is not an answer. That's exactly what they want, right? They want the mudslinging. They want the answers to the questions, and I get it. We all do. The questions that Truth has are questions I have as well. I get it. I absolutely get it. I just also think we're at a crossroad, and we're going to be seeing a lot of shit.
Start getting muddy. But in this way, it's a good thing. You're working out for truth for the victim. You're not doing it for social media clicks and likes.
There was, you're right.
Try to feel like you're important.
No. Ghetto baby, no. Not at this point. Well, I can't stand you, Brittany. I'm just going to be honest. I can't stand you. I'm still baffled that you have the nerve to show your face back in my chat after all the shit you started, all the lies you spread. I'm baffled. Facts that cannot be ignored. All three of the parents are evenly yoked. They are all each equally suspicious by their own actions and behaviors. Facts. I just want to know why Katie isn't taking advantage of news cameras speaking directly to Sebastian. Well, there could be several reasons, Robbie, right? So again, let's go back to the fact. Let's acknowledge the fact that police have more than we do. Okay? If the police have a reason to believe that Sebastian is an endangered runaway, or police have a reason to believe that Sebastian was kidnapped, if the police have a reason to believe that they say they have cameras or something, we don't know what they know to know why they're not speaking. No, it's not Brittany J. She would never show her face in here. It's not Brittany J. They found no evidence against her, and she passed a lie detector test. If Ellie doesn't suspect her, I'm not going to either. We just don't know what the police know. Therefore, we don't know what the Proudfoots know. Maybe it'd be more dangerous to get on camera and ask for Sebastian's safe return. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it'd be helpful. I don't know. The neighbor that claimed that the police were in her driveway and SF knocked at her door and she didn't know what to do and all that. That one. The one that came in and blatantly lied to our faces. Then goes in other chats and runs her mouth about me, but comes back in my chat like she never did it. That one blows my mind. I feel like I have as well. Seriously. I don't get credit for the grace I give people. And then when I do kind of get annoyed and I say things like this, then she'll run to a chat later and run her mouth about me again. But she won't acknowledge the fact that I still allowed her in here and she was still, whatever. It drives me nuts. I don't think any parents are involved in his disappearance. I think there's a lot of look over here, not over there. There's a lot of publicity seeking. I don't know what I would do as Katie. A lot of people were proud from the story, even bad actors. I think what you're looking at is vultures, and the story will be retold many times in a TV special. I agree. Hey, TTT. Use your chat's contact. I'm sure just wanted to know why I'm blocked. Oh. Why do we think they don't suspect her, Chris, or Seth? Well, because they came out and said there's no foul play. So I think that would be why. They've also have not come out and named anybody as suspects. The only person that named themselves a suspect was Seth Rogers. Thank you, Blue Moon. Usually drive in the time in and whether or not a parent speaks publicly directly to the child or the captor. Seth are getting rid of Sebastian. Many channels have accused Chris and Katie of it. And I think that's why, in a way, we appeared as if we were defending their innocence, when in all actuality, we were defending the integrity of Sebastian. And I think that was misconstrued because people wanted to misconstrue it. Hey, Hooker, thank you. No one said they suspect them. They may suspect, but don't have any evidence of anything. Chris and Seth have alibis. Now people are questioning those as well. Right, but we're not talking about a baby. We're talking about a 15-year-old. Right? And again, and I think Truth knows as well as I know, there were things going on that would leave a 15-year-old to leave. I don't know. Came out and said, no suspect foul play. Don't you think they combed through that house, her car, drilled her? Come on. Well, they did. I mean, I think it makes a difference, though. We're not talking about a baby, right? We're talking about a teenager. Right, but that the reward says that he's a endangered runaway. I mean, he was like, it says kidnapping, missing persons. Right? He's under kidnapping, missing persons. He was last seen in the area of. Chris Case said he was. Actually, I disagree with that. It is simplify. He basically called out that this is mudslinging, publicity seeking, and the child's forgotten about. We just had a kid in Canada missing a few weeks ago, found 6 days later in a burned out building. He had just took off on his own. There's just so many possibilities. It's not impossible that they're guilty of something that's not at all not possible. I mean, there's all the possibilities. Time will tell. I just think by now, if they believed if they had any evidence that Katie or Chris or Seth did anything, then they would say as much. Right. She rocked. She was looking past the screen. She wanted to look in the camera. There's so many things. And if you're not going to age well for this loss, who does it? It was not Chris and Katie. That was Seth in the very beginning. I know, Cambry. Keep me the fuck out of here. Hell. If they believe the parents had anything to do with it, they would be uncuffed. Sorry, not sorry. Or they would say as much. Let's finish this out.
Now, when I was on Hunt for the Zodiac Killer on the History Channel, and it aired, there was a detective. His name was Shumway. I could tell when we were there, we were cordial, but I could tell there was a sense of friction. And then after the show,
well, respectfully, they could and they would. Who just wrote that? They don't search a landfill for a runaway. Respectfully, that's not true. Sebastian could have ran away and been hit by a car. It was dark. Nobody saw him. There's so many possibilities. He could have ran away and ran into the wrong person who harmed him. There's so many possibilities. To say that they wouldn't do that about a runaway, it's just not necessarily true. You got to remember, his scent led there, right? So, I don't know.
Aired, and I made what he took as a condescending remark towards the investigators when I said, well, they wouldn't share police reports with anybody. How's that working out for you, buddy? Well, the next day he contacted me and, he basically yelled at me through email, who do you think you are, this and that. And I certainly didn't take too kind to that. But one of the things that he said was this. And even in bad context, it's always good to learn, right? Take something from it, even if it pisses you off. He said to me, I think you think you're more important than what you are. And at the time, it certainly really upset me because I don't feel that way. But maybe he was right a little bit, and you have to check yourself and step back. And remember, maybe some of you aren't as important as you think you are. Although we are important, I just always remember that. And although I have feelings one way or another towards that former detective, I learned something from him. And now,
well, that's great. He learned something from him. When the landfill was searched, it was very early on, wasn't necessarily determined or leaning towards being a runaway at that time. I think they were just covering and dotting their I's. They would have thought for whatever reason, they thought he climbed into a trash can and was picked up by the trash truck. We all know he would have been crushed from the compactor. Or they could have believed at that point he was put in there, right? The trash men said that the trash was heavier than normal. I think they were just covering their asses. I don't know. Hey, Tiff, good morning. I think she's trying to save face with 30 people still in her chat. Oh, gosh. I can only fathom who that would be. They said something about trash being heavier. Right. So they checked it. Sebastian also, his small spaces, so checking the landfill makes sense if he crawled in trash cans since it was that day. Anything is possible. All things possible. Exactly. Yeah, Mike, I'm shocked that you could be civil after running around trashing me, but I'd be more than willing to drop a link for you. Let's have some civility, will you? Keep saying the trash truck was early that day. How many people has their chat? How many people has their chat? What? I'm sorry, what? How many people has their chat? Has nothing to do with the missing child. That's another ridiculous comment. Good morning, Danielle, sorry. I can tell you search teams will search anywhere for a missing person we are given a search. I believe that. I know, Kraken. Hey, Amanda. For all we know, they paid attention how cases like Little Quentin learned something from it and checking all boxes. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, people saying they didn't do enough in the beginning. They treated it just like it was a runaway and they didn't investigate. But then you have the fact that they did investigate. I said, damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Absolutely. He did. He did, Goody. I think he thought I was going to. All right, let's see. I'll let you turn your camera off. Unless you just want it black. I'll just keep the thing in front of us. Hey, Mike.
Okay, is the camera off?
No, but it's black. We can't see anything, and I have you behind the gentleman on the screen anyway, so nobody will see anything.
Okay, when you're ready, let me know. Hey, I'm not going to fight with nothing. I just want to discuss something with you when you get a second.
Oh, absolutely. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, are we live right now?
We are, yes.
Oh, okay. So anyways, no, Jess, I know I've been saying, I thought I was blocked from your channel, to be honest with you. But I've been trying to get your attention, you know what I mean, in different, whatever, chats or whatever. And I know you know what you're doing. I understand this whole situation. The only thing I just worry about you, okay? I do. And I understand why people believe in or whatever SF investigates or whatever his name is or whatever. I get all that. But the thing is if you can educate me a little bit here, basically all there is some paperwork filed right now at this point, and a judge has to decide, right, if this is going to go any further. Am I right about that?
No, you're wrong about that.
Am I wrong about that? Is it an actual lawsuit now?
So there's a lawsuit and then there's an injunction.
Okay.
The injunction is what the judge decides on. The lawsuit doesn't go forward until I'm served.
Okay. I got you. But now, if you have talked to lawyers or anything, they say it's okay to talk about this case, even though they're asking people, you specifically not to?
Yes.
Okay. And then, and you know me, I'm not a dog the bounty hunter person. I was the one that put up the first stink on a different, I don't go on lives too often, you know that. But I'm the first one on a live bashing Dog the bounty hunter for all his ways he does things, with being on an island off of Florida, whatever else. I was the one that said he was in the swamp, and you know what I mean? And I even said that he'd get eaten by an alligator before he did. I knew he was in the swamp. So I know who Dog the bounty hunter is. Right. But what I'm worried about, Jess, is this guy has put a lot of hundreds of people behind bars. Okay.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the power to put anybody behind bars. The police put them behind bars.
Jess, when you're involved in something, you see something you only want to see. If you want to really search, if you want to do a search, Google Sebastian Rogers. Whose names comes up in social media?
Not mine.
FS Investigates or whatever it is. It's his. The first 3 out of 4. I know when you're in the midst of something.
What does that have to do with anything, though? So you have a problem with SS Investigates, so you're taking it out on me?
You said that he's not mentioned nowhere. Google.
Okay, I'm Googling right now.
See who pulls up, what names pulls up.
All right, so we're on Google right now. We got Reddit, News Nation, WKRN News, Court TV.
Google Sebastian Rogers.
Google
Sebastian Rogers.
That's what's on Google right now. This is what's coming up.
First thing it talks about is in the top 3 things, FS Investigates is in 2 of them.
Not on my end.
Okay, well, I'm just saying maybe it shows something.
But with respect, what does that have to do with telling me that I should meet the demands of these people who have no right to demand me to do shit? And
I mean, like, right.
Hold on.
Okay.
You yourself just said that you have insulted Dog the Bounty Hunter. Therefore, should he put RICO on your name, publicly dox you, intimidate you, and threaten you with a financial lawsuit? And then you would just take that?
He'll lose. He'll lose in my case because he's a public figure.
Right.
I'm not.
And he'll lose in my case too, and I'm confident in that. So I don't have to shut up. I don't have to meet their demands, and I won't be threatened or intimidated to do so.
Okay, but okay, I'm not going to argue about that. But I'm trying to get to is the bottom line is, it's not. You are right. Okay, I'm not even saying you're right, but sometimes it's best just not to be outspoken.
No,
And
because
if this guy's right, this private investigator whose name is not near as big as his, or has the money he does, if he's right, this will be dismissed in a week. He said a week ago, in 2 weeks, it'll be dismissed, right?
he said, yeah, he said in 2 weeks when the
Well,
judge finds out all that old likely. But so what? What does that do with me? I'm not attached to SF.
but isn't that the family's wishes or whoever's suing just not to be talked about? Basically,
No,
right?
no,
You?
no. See, that's the problem, Mike. A lot of you people think you know what's in that injunction, and you don't.
I
They
just
want
told
me
you right.
to admit to child endangerment. They want me to admit to bullying. They want me to succumb to their fucking demands when they don't have the right to place them. Why would I? Because Seth
Okay.
Rogers' feelings got hurt? Because Katie? Their declarations have nothing to do with me.
Okay. I read over a little bit, but not much. I just thought part of it was that they didn't want you guys talking about him.
No.
Okay, then you got that wrong. Then you're going to win. Then you're going to win.
I know
then.
I'm going to win. I'm very confident, and they know it as well, which is why they haven't served my ass. Fucking serve me. You defamed me. You put all over the internet. You doxed me everywhere. Serve me.
That's true. No, I understand your point, but I'm just saying, I know a lot of people that are lawyers. I know people that have been attorney generals for 3 terms, and most lawyers tell their people not to talk until it's okay. So if it's a week from now, I would just kind of be quiet about it. Then prove him wrong and rip him into whatever you want to do.
Here's the thing, Mike. I haven't been served. There is no injunction on me. I am free to speak about anything I want because I have not been served, right? So I don't know. I respectfully, I don't like. I understand, attorneys and former district, as do I, and I've spoken to many in the past 3 weeks. I've spoken to people in high places in the past 3 weeks, and I can assure you, you can rest assured that I know what I am doing. I understand what you're saying, but the way you're attacking me in chats, and it sounds like your aggravations with SF, not me. It wasn't very cool.
Right, you're right. I was wrong about doing that, but I've been blocked from a lot of your little channel friends. Okay, and I don't care. But anyways,
well,
I'm just
attacking me in their chats.
That's all I'm saying is I'm just looking out for you. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
I do appreciate
you think
that.
I'm a hater. You can think whatever I want. You should know me well enough that you're one of my favorite creators. And I don't like Queen Bee. I don't like you hanging around with her. I don't like any of that. I think they're a bunch of criminals over there. And B. Tim, I think, is the biggest issue in the whole community. But
I'll tell you this, Mike. I give you credit for at least admitting that your problem with me is who I'm associated with, because there's a lot of people out here that feel the same way and they won't own that. So I'll give you credit for that.
Okay, that's always why I went away from your channel a little bit. Well, I thought it was blocked too, but
no, you're
that's
not blocked.
The only reason why. That's the only reason why. But I don't want to take up your time. I just, man, I do worry about you, Jess, and don't think I'm a hater. I say I come off so wrong in chat. I type stupid. Whatever. I'm in a hurry. Always blah blah blah. Please just don't know that I'm a hater of yours. I'm worried about you is all. Okay.
I do. I appreciate that. Your way of showing worry is very insulting, but
I know, but you guys the subs, but that's okay. All right. Yeah. No, hey, and best of luck to you. And I hope you're right, Jess. I do. And you probably are going to be right. And then you can say, Mike, I told you so. And that's what I want to hear. Okay. Yeah. But when people have fame and power, dude, I know what he's doing with this case. All of a sudden he gets on a case and people are popping up everywhere. We've seen this before. It's a pattern of his. You know what I'm saying? Dog the Bounty Hunter. I'm just saying, I'm with you. And I'm with you on a lot of your same thinking. And we always have been on a lot of cases, I think. Yeah. And you and me really get them right. So hopefully you can prove me wrong on this one.
Here's the thing. These guys aren't as powerful as you guys are all hyping them up to be. They're not. I mean, Google dog. The first thing that comes up is asking if he's still alive. He's not as powerful as people are giving these guys credit for.
I know, but I just know the more people I know in my life, the more money they have, the better lawyers they have. That's all I know.
Yeah,
I
but
do.
here's the
True.
thing, though, Mike, with utmost respect, there's a lot of lawyers that love cases like this. They love to
Yeah.
see guys like this flexing their money and using it fraudulently to silence people. There are good attorneys. Matter of fact, there are organizations against what they are doing,
That's true. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
you know? So,
No. Hey, I've always said you're intelligent. You know that, and I hope you. And I just worry. I'm just worried about you. That's all. I just wish nobody would talk about him until whoever's named in this thing would talk about him until it gets dismissed. Then.
but that's what
Because
they
I
want.
want trouble. I want no, especially you, but no creator in trouble.
Right. But
Financially.
here's the thing, though, Mike. I think the people that have something to worry about are the ones that lied under declaration.
That's okay. 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 You know way more about this than I do. That's why I'm gonna jump off. My main point was I'm not a hater of yours, and I want you to know that. Okay. I'm just looking out for you. Even if I'm wrong, I'm looking out for you. That's all.
I
Okay.
do appreciate it, Mike. I really do. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks
Have
for
a great day.
not. Okay. Bye-bye.
Of course. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was nice to hear. Mike has, been very outspoken about his opinion. It's nice to be able to have a conversation and see where that was coming from. So I do appreciate that. Well, Myrtle, I'll give you this. I'll give him this. At least finally somebody was honest enough to admit that they started disliking me based on association. I appreciate that. I do. I just need 1 second, though. I think they're sleeping on me, Julie, and that's okay. I mispronounce words so they think I'm stupid. Good. Underestimate me. I'm going to play this really quick while I feed the cat.
That was it. That'll always stick with me. So, am I going to help on this case? It doesn't look so now because I have other cases have come in since I was contacted. And I was contacted a couple months ago. It wasn't like this was yesterday or anything like that. And since then, I've had other cases, not paying cases. I was going to do the Rogers case pro bono. I would certainly still help in any way that I can, but I wouldn't be traveling more than likely to Tennessee and those things. And it would certainly be a nightmare on the front that anymore, if you're going to be involved in true crime, you better get ready to be attacked. And you have to have thick enough skin and broad enough shoulders to take that. And I certainly do.
Okay, sorry. This is what I want to know. From all the people that ran around, okay, and they were saying things like Granny's looking at 20 years in jail and they're going to get her and this is urgent and all those things. Have any of you not stopped to ask why they haven't served yet? Clear lesson told me just trying to take the superior position. You were very polite. Thank you, Layla. I tried to be. There's just I think a lot of people don't understand. That's all. You had people come out here and present these filings as these big scary things, right? You had these people and their credentials placed out way higher than they should be. And they came out and they read all these things and they made it sound like it was this big scary thing. And a lot of people fell for it. A lot of people didn't read through it. A lot of people didn't see the attached documents. And because of that, they're believing the intimidation that was put forth. And that's fine. I understand that. But don't think that I'm unaware of what is happening. Yeah, some of these same people said I'd be deported. So where? I'm cordial with as many cards as possible. Intimidation. They have no standing period. They have probably edited the lawsuit and deleted you. But Barbecue was served, or was she? No. I don't think Barbecue was actually served. I think Barbecue's attorney stepped forward and said, I will take the serving on her behalf. I don't think that means she was served. Right. You throw around the word RICO, federal, people go crazy. Right. And there's been a lot of crazy. So the adult reasonable thing to do is keep trucking, move on, stop watching, watch whoever you like. Do not watch those who you do not agree with. It's simple. Siberia, right. She did, is my understanding. Oh, man, what a fun morning this has been. I know why I wasn't served, too. So I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I'm not giving them too much. So I don't really want to have a whole conversation on this lawsuit. A judge doesn't sign off until and unless we are served. See, people don't even know that. They also think that, this gets filed and the judge sees it. That's not the way it works. That's not the way any of this works. It feels that way, doesn't it? Are you nuts? Dave? I'm not sure who Dave is. Thank you, Regina. I'm glad you understand. It's a trap. But she did. But she's the first one that read it. She's the one that put it out here. So I don't know. No, a judge won't sign it. And a judge doesn't see it until we're served. Here's the video to the link to this video. No, Granny. We should all still be very careful how much we have you say on here. Just be careful. I am. Thank you, Mike, for listening. I do appreciate the conversation. Coming from somewhere like Betty's chat or people, Betty's over there saying I'm being charged with RICO. That's ridiculous. Exactly, Daddy's baby girl. I'm not giving them any. I don't think she has though, Racken. I don't think she has. I don't know. Whatever. We'll find out, right? I try to be Miss Norse. Yeah, they did say I was going to be deported. It was pretty fucking wild. Anyway, I think what this gentleman says is a perfect, unbiased, outsider's perspective to what has been going on. I think it is very telling what other people see. And this guy says himself that he would never join this because of it. Right. BJ wanted to destroy my life. Yes. There's no doubt about it. She has said as much. Yes. It was her personal revenge. Absolutely. Hey, Jane. Good morning. Hey, I might be coming to Canada soon anyway. Let's finish it out.
Because I don't live my life online. And I don't debate. I will take intelligent conversation from somebody that has meaningful conversations that want to talk. But I'm not going to file a freaking injunction. I'm not going to call you a piece of crap and get into your bankruptcy history and your failed businesses. And so you can't do it. The stuff I saw, which had no relevance to this poor kid. People lose sight of it. And it's sad.
People lose sight of it and it's sad.
You can't lose sight that it's about the kid.
Amen.
That's it. Secondary, it's about the family. Now, if the family's involved, it doesn't matter. It's still about the family because there's extended family as well. I didn't talk about the biological dad because I don't know much about him. I didn't research him and I didn't talk to him. But I know through conversations with the stepdad and Sebastian's mother that there is this, and that's not unusual. It complicates things a little bit, but you have to get them on the same page and say, hey, it isn't about this, but it'll happen. This will blame this one. This one blames this one.
You guys are so sweet. Thank
you. It happens, but you have to try to get them on the same page and say, hey, listen, it's about the child. End of story. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Yeah,
you have to work for a common goal, and that's to find the child.
Common goal.
Period.
Sebastian, there he is.
I just don't think there are people that have that same priority.
I don't think there are people that have that same priority. Listen, when you say a whole channel is criminals, I mean, come on. Come on. We all chill over there and we're all criminals. It's just there's some things that aren't even worth arguing.
I don't know. It's frustrating, I guess, in a way, but I just don't let it get to me. I know, like right now, I have another case. I have a couple cases that I'm working. One's a very, very, very high profile case that I'm being brought into, and it's very cumbersome and it requires some travel.
That's what they want. They don't want fast.
And it's going to take up a lot of my time. In addition to that, there's another high profile serial murder case that I am working.
Well, I don't know. Did anybody else see where they were hiring people for a few hours a day?
One of them. There was a few more that I'm trying to get get some resolution to those cases as well.
There's more to it, Ghetto Baby. So, there's more to
it. And you do it for the family, But I believe in total transparency and honesty. Yes, I do it for the family and the victims, number one. But number two, I do it for myself.
I'll take it.
Because I enjoy it. And, I have a little bit of talent for it. And I think if you marry those things up, you can be successful. And that's why I've been successful on a lot of these cases. It's because I enjoy it. It's my hobby. Like some people enjoy golfing or fishing or woodworking. And when
Which brings me to no other than Stephen Crabtree. So I guess there's people that are slinging mud at him because of his helping his search efforts. And what they're stating is that he's doing it for the reward. They're stating that Stephen Crabtree has spent all this money and time searching for Sebastian for the reward money, despite the fact that he searched prior to the reward money. And not only that, but he spent a lot of money himself. And I mean a lot, which I commented, I think is projection. So he wrote this whole big thing about, how insulted he is that people are saying that. Like, I will say this over and over. I refuse to lay blame on Chris, Katie, and Steph without evidence suggesting they've done it. Sadly, we don't have that. This idea that everybody's, right, that's why dogs around. That's why they keep upping the reward. But they're also claiming, it's not the way it works, Abigail. They're also claiming that that they added to the reward. But the only way for you to get their reward is for the tip that finds Sebastian to go through them. So at the end of the day, who do you think would get the reward from the FBI? It ain't going to be you. You didn't put it through them. I don't know. It's baffling, isn't it? I guess we're all criminals. Listen, I don't care if people don't like the fact that I'm associated with this person, that person, or this person. If you base and change your judgment on me based off who I'm associated with, people that you yourself were associated with at one point or another, well then so be it. So be it. I'm so tired of people judging. The judge doesn't see this at all until we are served. Service takes place first. All right, let's finish them out.
when they do it, they feel good. It's what they want to do. That's the same with cold cases with me. I work on it because that's what I like to do. And if I'm able to help law enforcement or help the victims' families, it makes me feel even better. And as a Christian, that's what I want to do, is I want to help people. That's why I entertained the offer of helping Sebastian Rogers' family.
Can you ask for attorney fees if your plaintiffs are admitting that the attorney was free?
Of course I'll help. I'm not going to tell you no, but you have to look at all these other things and see what's happening. And when I did that, I wasn't happy with it. Wasn't very comfortable with it. So, hey, I will still help in that case. And I hope that the family knows that. I just don't think it would be as involved or as intense as it should have been, unless, I still leave the door open. If you have one person in charge that's working with the police, giving information to them as you're finding it out, and not everybody running amok, maybe I would still entertain that offer. But it's just the new true crime stuff is just horrible in my opinion.
Repaid to who?
I just can't believe it. The lawsuits from people that aren't even involved in the name calling. The horrible.
Listen to what he just said again. The lawsuits from people who aren't even involved. If the IRS can't collect on a judgment, then good luck trying to collect a reward from someone as a private person. Thank you, Julie. Casual Art, thank you so much. Gotta go, but keep doing you, being and doing you. Just rock on. Thank you so much, Casual. Thank you. We just heard what he just said, right?
It's just horrible in my opinion. I just can't believe it. The lawsuits from people that aren't even involved in the name calling. The horrible things that you bring out. And it's not even about the case. It's personal attacks within the case.
Yep.
I don't understand. I guess that's maybe why I do my own thing. Hey,
I
that's
have
my thought here
several
on
times,
the Sebastian
Daddy,
Rogers
baby
case.
girl.
I do think that you have to look inside that house first and foremost, and that's nothing against the parent and the step parent. That's where you got to begin. That's where the child was last seen, obviously. You have to really look at victimology, his proclivities. What did he like to do? What was he scared of? Was he scared of the dark? These things you have to know. You would really have to take a lot of time to learn those.
And instead, the so-called people working on this are focusing on Chris and Katie's instead of Sebastian's. Thank you so much, Jill. Oh, I'm sorry, Abigail. I'll be honest. I don't want to talk about the lawsuit. And based on your comments, I feel like that's what you're leaning towards talking about. I do see you back here now. I didn't see you till you just said that. That was Mike Lisbeth. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this one up. This was a whole interesting stream. I'll tell you that much. If you haven't, please consider hitting a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. I am going to end out on the video of Sebastian. I mean, that's who it was meant to be about. And this guy right here, I dropped it several times in the chat. I'm dropping it again. He gives an unbiased outside perspective. And I believe right here, he says he wouldn't want to get involved in this case. Oh, well, he did okay, Abigail. I appreciate that, but he did fine. He doesn't want to get involved in this case because of all this mudslinging. So who's now interfering in an active investigation? Think about it. This is what people on the outside are seeing, toe beans. They're now typing in Sebastian Rogers and they're seeing injunctions and lawsuits and mudslinging and this and that. They're not seeing Sebastian. Right, was that their whole plan? For their faces to go in replacement of Sebastian's? So when national coverage of this child takes place, and your average viewer who isn't unaware goes and types in Sebastian's name to find out more, they then come across Dog the Bounty Hunter and some makeshift agency? Maybe it was. Maybe that's why we shouldn't be quiet. And I said it from the beginning. I'll say it again. Trust no one. Question everyone. These parents aren't going to tell us if they're innocent or guilty. Why would they? Go by what law enforcement has. Don't go by these fake tips that are coming in left and right, and they just so happen to match the new information. Chris Proudfoot has family in Ohio. Oh, we think Sebastian's in Ohio. We got a tip. I mean, it's ludicrous. They're all working together to set a narrative. It's obvious to anybody with an unbiased perspective to see exactly what is going on here. And I'm just thankful to all of you for not falling for it. Thankful to all of you for supporting me through this. And with utmost respect, not being the mics and those that are saying, just do it, just do it. Why should I? So every time a case comes up and they don't like the white space covering it, they can do this to them? We're just going to give them the power to silence critics because their feelings got hurt? I don't know about you, but I'll never allow that. I don't care if I like somebody or not. Fact of the matter is they are overrunning Sebastian's name and image with their own agendas, which is publicity. If you haven't, please hit the thumbs up. And I may be live later tonight. If not, I'll be back tomorrow morning. I hope you all have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you around. On February 26, 2024, an Amber Alert went out for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian is white, 5'5", 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Sebastian was last seen wearing a black long-sleeve shirt, black sweatpants, and glasses. He has a medical condition that may impair his ability to return safely without assistance. If you have seen Sebastian or have information regarding his whereabouts, please contact the Sumner County Emergency Center or TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Let's take this moment to pray for Sebastian's safe return.